One thing that a lot of young people are still having trouble getting over, though, is that Israel is really, 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 really popular with old people in the United States. That's still true. Where was it? Wasn't there a Trump clip yesterday saying something like, if you support Hamas, you should get kicked out of the United States. We should ban you from the country. Does anybody have this Twitter clip? Oh, it's this one. I might be exaggerating.
We will deport the foreign jihad sympathizers, and we will deport them very quickly, and Hamas supporters will be gone. If you hate America, if you want to eliminate Israel, then we don't want you in our country. We really don't want you in our country. I will ban refugee settlements from terror-infested areas like the Gaza Strip, and we will arrest the pro-Hamas thugs who vandalize federal property and make really life very, very difficult in this country for a lot of people. I'm president.
And like, you could look at it as some weird nefarious thing, but the reality is just old people just like Israel. They just do in the United States. Israel's a really cool story for anybody that's over the age of 40 or 50. And anybody that's followed it that's older is like, oh yeah, hell yeah. Democracy in the Middle East, hell yeah. Those are our Jews, hell yeah. No, you're wrong, Destiny. You want to fund both the winner and losers, so you win no matter what, like 90% of companies do. I seriously doubt 90% of companies support both sides of every election. But okay. Do you think younger people don't support Israel as much? Is it literally just internet memes? I don't think young people support Israel as much. And I don't think they should. And I understand why they don't. You have to remember, if you're an older person, okay? If you're an older person, like, what was Israel? Israel was, first of all, you had the Holocaust. Then you had a bunch of Jews escape to the Middle East, where all the surrounding people are evil and hate them, okay? Because we're not the biggest fans of brown people or Arabs, okay? And then Israel wins these massive, like, huge, like, underdog wars, and then they emerge as this, like, pretty thriving democracy in a area of the world that has no other democracies when we're fighting the Cold War and we love democracy, right? That was the whole point of the Cold War, was spreading democracy in the world. So it makes sense why if you're a Cold War American, you love Israel, right? But if you're a younger American, if you're under the age of 30, well, what is Israel to you? Okay, well, Israel is a country that has bullied Palestinians for 2 decades. They have a massive military. Hamas has never had any chance in hell of doing anything. And then there's just like people that are being fucked in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, and they're hungry and they don't have anything and they're right. That's all Israel is to you. So it makes sense why, if you're a younger person, why you wouldn't like Israel. Because what the like, you don't care as much about like the concept of democracy and all that is not like in the forefront of your mind like it was for Americans and the entire world in the Cold War, where it was democracy versus communism, right? Now you live in a world and there are different governments and who knows and who cares and whatever the fuck. And yeah, Israel doesn't represent anything cool or interesting or whatever. It's just a country, and your perception is just that they bully poor Palestinian people all day. Like, that's it. That's partly Israel's fault, or majority Israel's fault. That you can't live off your old stories forever, especially when the people that remember them start to die off. You thinking Trump was based about this, you're exactly the person you described as only caring about free speech when it's your side. What? Did you watch this clip and think that I support deporting people who support jihad or Hamas? What do you think of Israel before you did your research? I don't know. I didn't think much at all about it. It seemed kind of cringe, like they bullied Palestinians all day for no reason. I think that was kind of my opinion, right? If anything, I think I probably felt a lot more sympathy for the Palestinians and almost none for the Israelis. Yeah, I think there's like an old video with me arguing with Lawrence Southern, where I'm like, do you think Palestinians that are getting bombed in hospitals give a fuck about whatever?
I haven't actually watched this again yet, too. I don't even know what I was saying here.
People saying civilian deaths are okay if we're killing a
what
large
about if we talk about America supporting Israel that bombs hospitals and bombs schools, dog? It doesn't matter if the suicide...
You know they bomb hospitals and schools because terrorist organizations in Palestine put their freaking weapons there.
Do you think Palestinian sick people and children care about that? Do you think that a Palestinian child or the family of a Palestinian child...
Israel care about that?
But dude, the bombs don't make the little shitty RPGs don't even make it over the walls because Israel is one of the most sophisticated anti-missile dome systems in the world. You're really comparing the military power of these two states? Come on, dude.
No. Okay, I'm saying the reason they're not just sitting there bombing hospitals and schools. You can't honestly believe they're just sitting there like, you know what, let's bomb a hospital.
Israel has literally been on record manufacturing reasons in the past to march into the West Bank. can exterminate people, dog. What do you?
That's not true. There was a rumor, or it's partially true. I think for 2014? Was it Protective Edge where there were 3 kids that they said were kidnapped, and I think Israel knew they were dead, but they still went anyway? That was what I was referencing there, that event. So they didn't. What I say was manufactured is a little strong, but
Okay, listen up. I am not a huge. I barely talk about the Israel-Palestine conflict. I am not one to run around and be like, oh, I love Israel. But I certainly am not also.
Oh shit! That's where the meme comes from.
I love Israel. But I certainly am not also going to sit around here and pretend that they are bombing hospitals and schools for and giggles. At least admit that you have terrorist organizations that specifically set up their weapons places and their attack places in hospitals and schools simply to get Western media's attention. At least admit that.
Yeah, sure, they probably do.
Okay, there you go. Thanks. So you're.
That doesn't mean I'm okay with bombing hospitals and schools, though. Damn. Whoa.
The reality is, sometimes you gotta bomb hospitals and schools. That's how it goes, ladies and gentlemen.
So your opinion on Egypt's relations with the U.S. and Israel? I don't know. I think Egypt, is always just kind of chilling. I feel like, without doing any in-depth research, the vibe I get from Egypt is they just kind of want to like do their shit, and they don't really give a much anymore. I think the U.S. still pays the money every year, right? Ever since the treaty with Israel. And I think Egypt just kind of wants to do its thing. That's what I feel like. But maybe there's some huge event going on that I haven't seen or whatever. Yeah. Do you think the Cold War mentality is going to come back due to the new Cold War between the West and Russia, China, Iran, etc.? I'm not sure. I don't know if... Here's something I'm just not sure about. Also because I haven't done a deep reading of the history yet in that time period. I don't know if the Cold War can happen without having nuclear warfare first. Like, I don't know how much of the Cold War and multipolarity was driven by watching the nuclear weapons being dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and then knowing that 2 superpowers were beginning to build up those arsenals afterwards. Like, if the nuclear bombings never happen, I don't know if people care as much about the multipolarity thing. But maybe they still do, because Russia was a very strong state, the Soviet Union was a very strong state to emerge from the Cold War, and the United States was a very strong country to emerge from not the Cold War, from World War II. Maybe, maybe not. So I don't know if like a new Cold War can happen without like an actual big kinetic fight happening first, some big bombing activity. Otherwise, it's just all internet memes and bots and shit like that. So, yeah. Do you think it's interesting that as populism is more and more popular, you see more people being sympathetic to Russia? Do you think all the populist rhetoric would lead people to be more nationalistic and thus have more negative feelings towards Russia, our greatest adversary? The issue is that people just take for granted all the things that are provided by that we provide in the West. They just take it for granted. And then they see Russia and they feel sympathy for a variety of reasons. They feel they think they're cool for a variety of reasons. Like, they feel sympathy because they see Russia getting bullied by the rest of the world, but then but they're still like proud and white and Christian and they hate gays and like, damn, that is kind of cool. But it's like, no, they're not very cool. Not really.